guys, how are you all doing? So actually I have like the video that I'm about to do I have done before, but as I was like rewatching the video before posting it and just editing it, I realized that I found myself disagreeing with a few things I was saying during the video. And I think it's because when I made that video, I had just kind of finished the book series. I was talking about the Once Upon a Broken Heart book series, and once I had finished the book series, I kind of almost literally did the video review video right after that. And I think that's why some of my as some time has passed and the book simmered in my head, I guess you could say, the trilogy, I feel like a few of my opinions and point of views has changed. So I felt like I should do a new video and not post the old one, so that this could be more accurate and you guys could just get a more accurate point of view and opinion of rating of what I actually think of the books. The one and only Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So basically what this is first of all, let me just preface that for you to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, okay, there's this controversy about whether or not you should read the Caraval series first. And personally, I don't think that's a question that needs to be asked. And I just think that you do need to read the Caraval series first, and I don't think it's an option. I personally, my point of view, my personal opinion, I think you have to read the Caraval series first for you to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, because yes, they follow different storylines, but some characters in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series is introduced in the Caraval series, and you literally get a backstory about Jax, which is the main character, one of the main characters in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and about his past relationships with another person in the Caraval series. And it's crucial for you, I feel like it's crucial to know this backstory just about him, about his fates, and just about his power. You would know more about him, you would be able to understand his character more going into the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. If you had read the Caraval series, you will get introduced to other characters as well. Even Scarlett and Donatella show up in the second series, but it's very minimal. You just get one appearance of them in the series, but I think it's still important to just know them, especially Donatella, because she kind of has a big influence on Jax and his character development in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So I just really think that you need to read the Caraval series first in order to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. And I don't think that this is a suggestion, okay guys, this is a fact, and I am telling you, you need to read the Caraval series first. You will not regret it, because the Caraval series is really good. I had already put out a video about that Caraval series. I put it in portrait because it was my first video, and I literally forgot that I need to be posting landscape. I'm not used to that, so I'm sorry. You're gonna have to watch the video in portrait, but I hope you love it. And yeah, so now let's talk about the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Let me just preface by saying, in my last video, I had a few different opinions from the opinions I'm gonna say now. So let's start off with the first book in the series, Once Upon a Broken Heart. Now, this is one of the opinions that hasn't really changed for me, and stays the same. I am afraid to say this, but I do not think that this is up to the hype. I don't think that the first book in the series is up to the hype. this is my personal opinion, you guys, but I personally wasn't super intrigued by the first book. Like, I was in the beginning for a little bit, but then the middle of the book, okay, so let's say I was intrigued in the very beginning of the book, just until around chapter 13 maybe. The rest, bored. Sorry. Yes, I was bored. Okay. So this is only till chapter 13 was the book good. Then, like, just good, not outstanding. And then the middle was just boring. I could still read it, but it was boring. And it only started to get better again by the 75% mark of the book. Therefore, I'm giving this book a 3.5 star. And that's just like pushing it, I think. And let me just say 3.5 star is not a bad rating. 3.5 star is a really, really good rating because I did like the book, but I don't know, maybe my expectations were too high for the whole series and I expected more of the book, I guess, and maybe that played a part on my opinion. So therefore I'm giving this book a 3.5 star because I didn't get the feeling that I don't want to put the book down. Like, I was actually fighting for my life, trying to continue through the book and just read it all in one sitting because I just wanted to download this book so I can continue with the series, so like I can see how I feel about the rest of the series, because I was motivated first of all because of the TikToks I've seen about it, and so that's why I was able to do this in one sitting. So, however, the plot is very, very, very easy to understand and very easy to grasp. The world building, super duper easy to understand, and it's even easier, you guys. It's even easier if you have read the Caraval series. You would find it even easier to understand it and get into this world much easier because they are kind of connected. So, the second book in the series. Oh my god, I love this book so much. This is my favorite book in the series. I think it actually is my favorite book in the series. Like, look at my face. I just bring this book up and I start doing backflips in my head. Like, this book was so good. It was so good. It was so worth it getting through this book in one sitting because right after I finished this book, no, not right after this book, but like literally the next day I started reading this book and oh my god, I loved it. I give this book a 5 star. This book for me is a 5 star. I sobbed, cried my eyes out at the end of this book continuously. I was continuously crying for 10 pages straight. I could not take it. I loved it so much. The scenes in this book, the quotes that is in this book, amazing. I'm gonna stop talking about this book because I could literally go on about it for days. So, the last book in the series, A Curse for True Love. Now, I loved this book too. It's not my favorite in the series because this one is, but this one is also... Okay, so this is where my opinion changes. Okay, my last video I had said... This is the difference between the last video and this video. So in my last video I had said I was not... Like, I gave this book 4.7 star because I said I was not satisfied with the ending. And I really wasn't. And it wasn't only me, it was a few other people who read this book. They weren't satisfied with the ending. I mean, okay, well, actually, I'm gonna tell you guys how I felt literally right after finishing this book. Right after finishing this book, I was like, oh my god, what now? I finished it. Like, there's nothing else to read. I'm gonna miss this world. Like, I'm done. Then, and I loved it. I did feel a little bit of like empty inside. I didn't know, I couldn't differentiate whether this emptiness was because I had just finished the series or was it because I didn't feel satisfied enough with the ending. Now, it's a bit of both. And when I like finishing series, book series, and then going onto TikTok and watching edits and watching people like just people's opinions and whatnot. So I had went on TikTok and watched people's opinions, and maybe people's opinions kind of rubbed off on me and kind of affected my opinion. And that's why in the last video, in my old video, I was just saying that I love this book. I said that I love it, but there was one fault in the book, and that fault was that I was not satisfied with the ending. But the reason why I'm re-recording this video is because that opinion has changed. That now that I've sat on it and let the book trilogy simmer in my mind, I have realized that was the only perfect ending that this book series could have. And I find myself starting to agree with Stephanie Garber on that ending. And I find myself starting to understand, no, she actually did answer most of the problems in the book series. And if she hasn't, because I'm sure there are a few problems, she made so many problems and obstacles throughout the whole book series, and we had thought they would all be answered at the end of the book, and they kind of all were, just not fully answered. They were semi-answered or indirectly answered, so that it would be left for you guys to interpret the way that you want. So it was kind of an ending, but kind of an open ending a little bit, so that you could just, it leaves for you the space to just think about it and interpret it the way that you want, and just have theories. You know what I mean? And I just didn't really get that. I didn't realize that after I had finished the book. But now that it has sat with me for a while, I noticed it and I realized it, and that's why I'm re-recording this video. Because yes, the ending might not have had everything we wanted, the perfect solution and understanding of every problem that she had made throughout the series, but she indirectly did solve everything, and it was on purpose. It was done on purpose. So therefore, last time I gave this book a 4.7 star. This time I'm giving it a 5 star, because I have come to the conclusion and to the understanding that this book was perfectly written, perfectly thought out, and this was the only way that she could write the ending, the only right path that she could take while writing this ending. And I do need to preface this. Yes, there's a few things I wish she could have talked more about, but she didn't. And I think, in my personal opinion, I think that's because she is leaving space to write a spin-off series with 2 other characters in the book. One was literally from especially the second and third book. There's 2 characters in these 2 books where I just felt like a story simmering between them, and I feel like she might actually write a series about them. And then maybe we'll get more backstory about the rest of the things that weren't fully answered in the series. It's because we're getting another series. And if that's the case, first of all, I'm so happy. Second of all, it's all the more reason to give a series a 5 star. Just me. So, therefore, we have 2 5 stars and a 3.5 star. I did not change my mind about this book. Sorry. So in the end, the whole book series, I'm giving it a 5 star. Did I tell you guys that I cried more in the last book than in the second book? I cried in 2 of these books. I cried. I don't think you understand the emotions that this book pulled out of me. I could literally feel myself in Evangeline's place. I was her and she was me. We were one and the same. I was feeling everything that she was feeling, and my heart was constricting and just contracting and relaxing, and I was feeling all the emotions getting squeezed out of me. I'm sorry, I'm being a little bit dramatic, but I mean it with every bone in my body. this was how I felt. Anyway, I've been talking about just my review and rates and idea and opinions of the books and the ratings of the books, but did I tell you guys of the plot? I didn't. So, now, what is the plot of this series? I have literally been talking about for, I don't know, 20 minutes straight. So basically, the plot of this whole trilogy is that, I'm gonna try my best to explain, but I could read for you guys the blurb of the first book. Once Upon a Broken Heart marks the launch of a new series from about love, curses, and the lengths that people will go for happily ever after. That's why I'm telling you guys, this felt like a freaking fairy tale. It was literally a ballad. I'm reading a ballad. I'm reading a small, like a fairy tale. Like, anyway. For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox, that's the main character in the book, has believed in true love and happy endings. As we all do as little kids, right? Until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding and to heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts, Jax. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she'd pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. And that's what's written in the back of the book, so I did not ruin anything for you guys. So, that is the plot of the 3 books. Basically, Evangeline ends up basically being forced to bargain with Jax, the Prince of Hearts. And she doesn't really know it at first, that basically when you bargain with any fate, and so if you guys had read the Caraval series, you would know more about fates and their backstory and how their powers work and what they really are. But basically what a fate is a fate is not human. They are inhumane. They don't have the same emotional capabilities that humans have, and they are immortal. They are immortal. So they don't age and they don't die unless they are, murdered, killed by someone. But otherwise, they would just live their immortal life forever and ever. Now, obviously, they're stronger than humans, and obviously, they do have powers and magical powers that humans don't have. So that's the difference. You have the Prince of Hearts, obviously by the name. He has the magical powers to do anything that has to do with love, hate, emotions, and he could control them and whatever. So that's his power, that's his category. So Evangeline was forced to bargain with him, make a deal with him, because obviously she had problems with her relationship with another guy, and now she made a deal with him, not really knowing that making a deal with a fate is stupid. Like, she knew it, but she didn't realize it until she struck the deal. And throughout the book series, she starts to realize how stupid she was for making a deal with a fate, because no one does a deal with a fate unless they're stupid, and how ruthless fates are, and how when you make a deal with a fate, it's never really fair. The fate always gets more out of you than you get out of the bargain. So that all unfolds throughout the whole series. You get to see them, you get to see the relationship develop, the obstacles, the plot, everything is so good in the series. It keeps you guessing, it keeps you on your feet. It's so suspenseful, and I loved it so much. It keeps you at the edge of the chair, of your seat. Oh my god. Yeah, so that's what I was looking for. That's the sentence I was looking for. That aside, now that we've talked about the plot, let's talk about the aesthetics, the vibes of this book. I always like to do this in my videos, where I like to describe this every series with a few words. If I had to describe this series with a few words, I would say it was magical, it was beautiful, it was red hearts, it was apples and blood and like fairy dust and glitter and beautiful ball gowns, and that is all I could think of at the top of my head. All the words that I could associate with this series at the top of my head, these were all of them. So I just do want to say a few notes. Stephanie Garber's writing techniques, chef's kiss. Her descriptive language, chef's kiss. I've seen this go through the Caraval series and this series, and they're both, she's really good at writing in both of them. The descriptive language she has is unmatched. Guys, when I tell you the way she describes her, like in her books, is so good. It's as if I'm watching like a movie in my head. I could picture the expressions, how the characters look from head to toe, their clothes. I could picture the environment, the place that they're in perfectly. It's amazing. And it never really felt, as I was reading this book, it never felt like I was reading a book. It always felt like I was watching a movie, and I was so immersed in it. I would literally not listen to anyone. If someone is talking to me, I wouldn't be able to listen to them because I'm just so immersed. It was like I was disconnected from the world, and that is what I yearn to find when reading books. I always want to escape from reality and just hop into a different world, and that just gave me that series, that trilogy gave me this. That's what I've been wanting, and if that's something that you look for, you'll love this series. You'll love this series. It'll pull out emotions, pull like roller coaster of emotions out of you. It will make you forget the world you live in. It will make you feel like magical. And that was everything I wanted to say about this series. So yeah, that's all, guys. I'm thinking that I might do another part 2 to this video, just really rambling about the books a bit more and talking more in detail, just spoilers, theories I had, and everything about that, just because I really do. I want to talk more about Jax because I love him so much. The quotes that are in the second and third book, there are a few quotes and sayings that guy says, pulled at my heartstrings. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I convinced you to watch this, to read this series, and then after you read the series, you can go to watch part 2 with the spoilers, and then you could see if we both have like the same opinions and point of views. Oh yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment what video ideas that you'd like to see from me. I love doing this, I really do, and I'll see you guys in my next week's video. Bye.
Look at me. Look at me. I am in like tears. I don't think I've ever cried like this before, and it's all because of this. All because of this. Stephanie Garber, I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm so glad I have the third book right now because I don't know what happened. I think I can't talk. I can't think. In fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and literally just read this book because I can't take this any longer. Guys, I Lindsay. Okay, I look so stupid right now, but if it looks like I was crying, it's because I was crying. I just finished A Ballad of Never After. How dare you end the book like this? How dare you end the book like this? When I tell you I've never cried this much before over a book, I mean it. I was fucking sobbing at the end of this book, like sobbing my eyes out uncontrollably, continually, just like for this much, like of the end of the book. Like like for like 15 pages straight. I'm just crying. Like I could not stop crying, and when the tears would stop, they would just come back. This is not a small mistake to fix. If you do this, time will take something equally valuable from you. The fate, I look more vicious than any curse. There's nothing of equal value to me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, everything starting from there and continuing. Uncontrollable tears. I'm not fine, but this book is a 5-star. The first book in the series was like surprisingly not up to the hype. Like I thought it was boring most of the time, except like at the end of the book. So I'm giving it a 3.5 stars. Don't come at me. That's just like my opinion. However, this book, 5-star read. It's a good thing that I have the last book in the series, or else I'll be thinking about this book day and night and not getting a wink of sleep because I am depressed right now. I'm not even kidding. So I'm actually gonna start reading the book right now, and I swear to God, Stephanie Garber, if I don't see these two together. Let's try to read Curse for True Love because I couldn't take the depression of reading the end of the last book. So I had to cure it with reading the last book in this series, because hopefully it has a good ending, or else I'm gonna cry myself to sleep. And I'll probably just rate this book 2 stars. I don't care if it's good or not. I'm not settling for anything other than these two being together.